Hey guys, a very good evening to all of you. Now I'll just quickly go through what you have to study for the BARC exam, right? Like I've already told in my previous video, for which I'll give you the link over here. You can see I've discussed what all questions you need to prepare. Now for the final revision, there are some very easy questions that are asked in BARC, for which sometimes what happens that you are not, since you're preparing for CSI and GATE, so you end up doing all complex kind of concepts, but some simple concepts just because you're out of practice, you tend to miss them out. So I have basically listed down some of the concepts and we'll discuss that, right? So first of all, like GATE exam, do not forget to do questions from spinals and inverse spinals, right? That is very important. Last year also there was a question when I gave the exam, and before that somebody did tell me that spinals and inverse spinals has been asked in every BARC exam. So do not forget to do the concept of spinals and inverse spinals. That's very important, first of all. Secondly, there from solid state, if I talk about, there were questions based on how many atoms will occupy tetrahedral holes, how many atoms will occupy octahedral holes. So just be aware of what kind of structure is there and how many tetrahedral holes are there, and how many octahedral holes are there, right? Then please do not forget to practice Vesper theory. That's very important, right? So Vesper theory, obviously all of you might be very well versed with the concept, but sometimes you don't remember, like what will happen if there are 3 bond pairs, 1 lone pair. So just revise the concepts, right? Because you will have very less time, and sometimes in pressure you tend to forget very easy things, right? So just revise Vesper theory once. Just go through all the different different permutations, combinations, like 4 bond pair, 1 lone pair, 4 bond pair, 2 lone pair, like that. So just go through the structure, basic structure. Now talking about coordination, you'll see a lot of questions from coordination chemistry, right? So they are very easy. Do not worry about that, but do practice isomerism. A lot of you tend to miss out isomerism, so please do not forget to revise isomerism in coordination complexes, right? And then what else? Yeah, in coordination complexes, what will be the spin only magnetic value? So for that you need to calculate the number of unpaired electrons. So just go through once the spectrochemical series, that's it, right? Then in GATE, one typical question comes, which will again you will see in BARC exam, that is based on water exchange rate. So there are 5 or 6 for the 3D transition metals. You will see a kind of there's a chart given where you can see the water exchange rate for different kinds of metals in different oxidation states. So just go through that water exchange rate table. All right, then what will we have? Isomerism I've discussed. Labile and inert complexes, that's also very important, right? So do not forget to discuss to revise labile and inert complexes, right? This all I have discussed. Then coming on to your organic chemistry. Organic chemistry is actually very simple, all right? So just do the basic reactions first. Like do not forget to do Markovnikov, Markovnikov rule, right? Because that is very simple, but sometimes again when you are under pressure, anything can happen. You can just forget Markovnikov, anti-Markovnikov, or you can just get confused between the two. It happens a lot, right? It happens with a lot of students. So please do not forget to do that, right? Markovnikov, anti-Markovnikov, there was a question from hydroboration oxidation. There was a question from oxymercuration, demercuration. There was a question from Wittig reaction. There was a question from McMurray coupling. So these are very basic name reactions, right? So just go through them once, right? The basic ones. Obviously the more advanced ones you have already practiced a lot, so you might be well versed with them. But sometimes what happens, the basic ones you tend to forget, right? Baeyer-Williger oxidation, just know what kind of chemoselectivity will be there, what kind of stereoselectivity will be there, all right? Then NMR questions are pretty damn simple, right? So don't worry about that. They are very simple, the NMR questions, all right? In IR spectroscopy, just do the carbonyl stretching frequencies, okay? Coming on to graphs, do graphs of kinetics very well, all right? I wanted to do graphs from nuclear chemistry as well, which are basically dependent on daughter nuclei, right? When the parent nuclei decays, what will happen to the daughter nuclei? If daughter nuclei is non-radioactive, then it will simply increase exponentially. That is very simple. But what if the daughter nuclei is radioactive? So those kind of graphs had been asked last year, right? I will definitely try, maybe tomorrow if I can upload the video, but I can't promise. But it is given very well in H.J. right? I think chapter number 4, if I am not wrong. In chapter number 4 they have given all the graphs and they have explained all the formulas, all right? Then we have spin only magnetic value I have discussed.
quantum basics, right? By basics, what I mean, like for example, I'll give you an idea. I have uploaded BARC 2018 some questions that I remember and the answer key, and I'll give you the link over here, right? So you can watch that video. So over there was a question on quantum mechanics which basically asked that which of the 4 wave functions will be a suitable quantum mechanical wave function, and they had given sine theta, cosec theta, sec theta, tan theta, and sine theta plus cos theta. So if you see cosec theta in the region of 0 to 2 pi. So if we talk about sine theta, right, and sine 0 is basically sine 0 is 0, right? So if I talk about cosec theta, so cosec theta is 1 upon sine theta. So at 0 angle, sine 0 will be 0, so it will become 1 upon 0, which is not defined. So cosec theta cannot be an appropriate wave function. Similarly, your tan theta cannot be an appropriate wave function, because tan theta is again like again it will become 0, right? Then we have your sec theta is 1 upon cos theta, right? And if you do 1 upon cos theta, and if you take cos 90, then it is 0, so again it will be not defined, right? So the only appropriate wave function is sine theta plus cos theta. So just go to the basics, right? Eigenfunction, eigenvalue, the commutators, all these basic concepts from quantum mechanics. All right. And what else? Titrations. There were some questions, again graphical questions from titrations, conductometric titrations and acid base titrations. So just go through the basic graphs: strong acid versus weak base, strong acid versus strong base, the basic graphs for both conductometric and acid base titrations, right? Then we have if you remember in class 12th we used to do some formulas, or class 11th, where some percentage of carbon was given to us, some percentage of hydrogen was given to us, and some percentage of nitrogen was given to us, and we needed to find the molecular formula, right? So in the exam also you would be able to do it, but if you don't know the shortcut, it will take you some time. So just revise how you used to do that, right? When the carbon percentage is given to you, nitrogen percentage is given to you, hydrogen percentage is given to you, and they ask you the molecular formula, right? So questions like these can be asked. Okay. Then there were some very simple questions based on surfactants, which are based on basically your day-to-day chemistry. So there are some 2 or 3 application based questions, right? For that you can't revise anything, I mean just be alert, right? And because you have to be very fast, you tend to make a lot of silly mistakes, right? So don't make silly mistakes, and like everybody will tell you, don't make silly mistakes. But what you need to do is you need to calm yourself down. Okay, if you see a question which you know the answer to, like for example you studied spinals and inverse spinals just 3-4 hours before the exam, and it came in the exam, you will be so excited, you will be like, you will be on top of the world, and you will be thinking, I discussed this, I practiced this question just 2-3 hours before, and you're so happy and you're so overwhelmed, and in that happiness you don't focus on the question and you end up marking the incorrect answer, right? So don't show your emotions in the exam. In the exam, be calm. If a question comes that you have already practiced, be calm. Right, you obviously will feel happy, but just be calm. Just don't get overexcited and mess up the question, right? So don't do that. And similarly, if you don't know the answer to a question, again, don't let your feelings overpower you in the exam. All right, just don't let that happen. That's very important. That's why you tend to make silly mistakes. And then be very, very careful with the questions. Read those questions 3 or 4 times where they have mentioned which does not, okay, which of the following does not have a tetrahedral structure, right? Please be very careful with these questions. I have seen hundreds of students, thousands of students who make mistake in this question, right? So whenever that part comes, mark the incorrect answer, or which does not, this term comes, does not. Please be very, very careful with such questions. Revise them 3 or 4 times before answering, right? Those questions are very important. They have a very high chance that you will end up marking the incorrect answer, even though you know the correct answer, right? So just be careful with these questions, and I wish you all the very best. I really hope that you can do well. Try and attempt at least 50 questions out of the 100 questions. That will actually seal the deal for you, because even if you get 4 or 5 questions incorrect, still 45 into 3 becomes 135. You will be on the borderline, but still you will have a chance. So at least try and do minimum 50 questions. That's what I would recommend. Rest you can have your own judgment. You can make a good choice for yourself as well, but I would recommend at least minimum 50 questions if you are very confident about the 50 questions you have answered. If you're not even confident about the 50 questions you have answered, then I would recommend to go to a higher number. All right, so be careful, be attentive, and please do not let your feelings overpower you in the exam, right? And all the very best, and I'll see you after the exam. One last thing I forgot, I should have mentioned it in the beginning of the video itself, that there's a Facebook page, Reagent Blues. So please, when after the exam, please go ahead and put out the questions which were asked in the exam, so that for the next year, it could be helpful for the students. And even if you are, let's say, in MSc 4th semester and you are not able to qualify, again for the next year it will be helpful to you as well, if you have a question bank. So please, I would request you guys that after the exam, either on the YouTube page, on the YouTube channel, or on the Facebook page, you just go ahead and whatever questions you remember, just put it out in the group, right? That will be very beneficial. I'll combine all these questions, and for the next year I could maybe help out the students who demand the question papers for the previous year exams, right? So anyway, again, I'll wish you all the very best, and kudos. Just do the best, stay calm, don't get overexcited. Thank you.